Fellow, this is RV Vagabond Jerry in the town of Munising, Michigan. And this town, unlike some others, the shoreline around Lake Superior is a little hilly, and in some areas there are a lot of steep rock cliffs around the lake, whereas most places I've been, it's a lot more flat. Here there is a lot of cliffs, and they're hard to see other than from a boat. So what I'm going to do now is take a boat trip. It's called the Pictured Rocks Tour Boat, and this particular one is, the name of the boat is Miss Superior, and it's going to go over to the area where the most dramatic examples are of what they call pictured rocks, which has a lot of vertical and horizontal lines. And in some places they actually do look like paintings, very colorful, with all of the lines which have been formed naturally. So hop along the boat with me and let's go take a look at what they call the pictured rocks.
Form some pretty interesting imagery, as you see as we go along. Folks have been able to visualize pictures of all kinds of different things out of that imagery. How it got its name, Pictured Rock. The whites are seagull sepia. Just kidding, those are limonite, the form of calcium. And the blues and blue greens are copper. The ramparts of these cliffs are comprised of 500 million-year-old Cambrian sandstone. And for you geologists aboard, it's of the Munising Formation. The Munising Formation makes up the majority of sculpted rock formations we'll see in our cruise today. It's made up of a much harder dolomitic sandstone that really kind of just acts as a cap to protect the underlying layers from any real rapid erosion. Castle is the only rock formation in the park that you can get to by car. If you're interested, take H58 east out of town, follow the signs. It's about a 20-minute ride. Miners Castle used to have two turrets up on top. If you look to the right of that viewing platform, there's a big U-shaped hollowed out spot. Just on the upper right edge of that, where that bush is, where the second turret used to be. That came crashing down April 13, 2006. It is possible to swim through there, assuming you're not too claustrophobic. Gets a little dark and snug in there. This low-lying sandy area that you see here is called Miners Beach. The first of three beaches we'll see in our cruise today. And what they are, remnants of ancient riverbeds that have since filled in with sand.
Here's the beach.
Sand erosion, but it's always kind of hard to see. Anyway, if you follow that river back in a ways, you're going to come to Miners Fall. You can also access Miners Falls off that same road you take to get out to Miners Beach and Miners Castle. Just a little jog off to the right. But if you have the time and you're up to it, it's well worth it. The falls are nearly 70 feet high. There's a little information center there with some restrooms, a little ways back in the woods. And just beyond that a little bit, it's the parking lot. where the main road comes in. Pretty good. It does look like a bridal veil. Definitely gorgeous.
That is Bridal
These
Veil
X-ray codes
Falls.
are known as the painted code. Remember your colors now. Blacks are manganese, reds, reddish browns are iron, whites are limonite, blues and blue greens are copper. As you can see, this first code is predominantly all iron. See? Here on the right, if you look up here at the top, you'll see a big vertical crack going up there. That crack goes all the way through, comes out on the other side.
He's talking about this right here.
Usually those cave-ins are
crack?
caused by actions of the frost. Water gets in the crack, freezes it, expands, and breaks off sections of the rock. That cave-in we had a couple of years ago that narrowly missed those kayakers. Well, this is it coming up on the right here. Most of the rubble has been washed away, but it was still a pretty significant cave-in. The kayakers were cruising along just right along the shoreline there. It came down right behind them.
Look at this streak right here.
It's a pretty colorful spot coming up here on the right. Shows off a lot of the mineral streaks I've been telling you about.
And down here.
A lot of that photo art you may have seen in the cruise office was taken right here. Beach all the way down the end right before the hill there. In fact, there's somebody standing in it right now. That's the mouth of the Mosquito River. The fishing buddies of mine tell me that's a pretty good rainbow trout stream.
Here's some more caves.
These are known as the Caves of All Colors. Coming up on our right here is a vertical fault line. Those little holes midway up on the left used to line up with those bigger ones down on the right. This archway coming up on our right is better known as Lubbersley. There's an old Indian legend that claims that a lot of the wives of the Indian warriors used to wait atop that archway for their husbands to return home from battle. If they did not return, they would go ahead and leap off of that archway into the water below rather than go on living without him. That's why they call it Lover's Leap. Rainbow Cave. If you look real close at the surface of the water inside a Rainbow Cave, you should be able to see it dripping down from the ceiling. Kind of like it's raining inside a Rainbow Cave. It does that year round. Makes for some pretty spectacular ice formations in the wintertime. Gonna get a little closer to Indian Head. I think it's a lot easier to make out his profile from here. They called it Kitchi Manitou.
Look at all this. It fell down from the cliffs.
Kitchi Manitou is just under 200 feet high. Seagulls come here to hatch their young. Baby seagulls are light gray in color. They blend in quite well with the cliffs along here, and nature's way of protecting them while they're young. It all came crashing down in the year 1900. The cave-in you see in the archway there came down a little over 20 years ago now. Prior to that, you get a small boat, canoe, kayak through there fairly easily. Coming up on the right here is probably the largest cave-in that any of us have ever seen or even heard of out here. It took out over 200 feet of the hiking trail up on top. Just a good thing it came down during the wintertime when nobody was here. Kind of like old pirate ships, all lined up on the beach in a row. sometimes called the Stranded Fleet. Right edge there, hence the broken car base. This next outcropping they call the Indian Drum. They say with the huge waves crashing in those caves, it sounds like thunder. This is Chapel Cove.
There's the cove.
Maybe these guys are trying to tell me something.
We're pulling right into the cove here. Our boat is entirely in the cove here. We just backed out of the cove there. There's another beach. More kayakers. There are so many kayakers.
This is the last of the beaches on our cruise today. It's called Chapel Beach. Chapel Beach is also a favorite layover spot for the hikers. A lot of the area boaters like to come down here as well on nice days. Pretty secluded little beach. You can only get here by boat or take the 3.5-mile hike in. Coming up at the end of the beach, you can see Lower Chapel Fall. That's kind of refreshing too on a really nice day to sprawl out in that rushing water. If you look
wow,
back
look at
in
that
the
waterfall.
shadows there, you can see a footbridge going over the falls. That's a continuation of the Lakeshore Trail. She gets all her nourishment from the cliff to the left over there. There used to be a stone archway supporting all those roofs. That came crashing down well over 60 years ago now.
Look at the tree on top. Right there. Now we're turning around to go back.
You can hike out to the Ensemble Lighthouse. You do the log slide, where the lumberjacks used to slide the logs down the lake. She was built here back in 1867 of the old schoolhouse design. Kind of obvious why they call it that. There were 10 other lighthouses of the same design built around the Great Lakes right after the Civil War. They turned a kerosene lamp out on this one for the last time in 1907.
These are houses that you can only get to by boat for people who really like their privacy. That looks like a really nice one there. Well, folks, we're almost to the dock. I think this has been the most scenic cruise I've been on this whole trip. And I've been on several of them. Good day, folks.